What's up, Aaron? How we doing?
Doing good. I guess woke up and God put air in my lungs, so I can't complain too much, right?
I mean, you could, but that would mean you're a politician. So there you go. So what's up, man?
So my question is, how can I best show up, love my wife, and help her as she's struggling with motherhood?
Ooh, tell me about that.
So my wife and I have this amazing 2.5-year-old daughter who is a girl that has a spirit that is strong, brave, and stubborn as all get out. I guess the best backstory I can give is when my wife was pregnant, we both talked and prayed a lot, and she made the decision to stay home with our daughter full time, which is a big deal because it meant giving up, a career she worked really hard for, and she was the first person to graduate college in her family. Well, the labor was tough, and we had a unplanned C-section, which led to our daughter having a short stay in the NICU. And because of that separation, my wife feels like she doesn't have the same kind of bond that my daughter and I have. And the trauma from the C-section and labor brought back a lot of trauma from her past and led to postpartum depression. After going through treatment for that, she's felt like just every day has been a struggle since motherhood doesn't look like what she thought. She feels really alone. Most of her best friends live out of state, and unfortunately, her family and mom isn't really a safe place except for one brother who also lives out of state. And this all kind of came to a head when we were in an argument over our daughter not listening and, pushing boundaries. And she told me that she's not happy and that her soul is tired. And she feels like she gave up who she was when she became a mom. And that just hit me really hard. And I'm probably not giving this statement justice, but just kind of the weight of that statement really hit me. So, I love my wife so much, and I want her to be happy, but I'm not exactly sure what I can really do to help her in all of this, and I'm worried about her. And I was hoping maybe you have some guidance or words of wisdom or something to kind of help me show up to help her through all of this.
Well, thanks for being a husband that loves his wife, man, and that wants to do what he can to see her wake up with joy and laughter and fun and hope and light and happiness, man. Good for you. There's a lot of selfish husbands out there, and that doesn't sound like you. I'm going to reverse engineer how you laid this out, best I can remember it, okay? And
Sure.
This is going to be important for all of y'all, okay?
Okay.
Number one, she 1,000% did lose who she was. She is not who she was. Because before, she was a woman traveling the world who had chosen to get married to a guy named Aaron in Atlanta, Georgia, and they were just doing life together. Them two versus the world.
Yeah.
Now she's a mom. Everything she knew before is now different. And same with you. You're now a dad. You're a father. Everything in your life is different now. And the people that I see struggle the most are those who try to hang on to the former life and not excitedly and a little with grief let it go and then get to the business of building a new world. Because she's not going to feel the same if she's chosen to give up a career where she was fulfilled and had purpose and loved it, and she gave that up to go do something else. If she's trying to do something else and still have those same feelings, man, that's going to be a recipe for being frustrated a lot because it's different. If you guys have in your head that we're going to have this kind of kid and we're going to teach that kid, dude, 2.5-year-olds by design are human hurricanes, man. Like, if you get mad at a 2-year-old for being anything other than a 2.5-year-old, that's going to cause some downstream challenges with that kid. Like, their nervous system is being built in real time right now. And if that 2.5-year-old figures out that it's their job to keep mom and dad from getting mad, or it's their job to please mom and dad so that mom and dad give love, because they don't get love if they don't, man, you're setting that kid up for a nightmare.
Yeah. And we definitely don't want that.
Of course, I know you don't. But it's like, I remember being like, oh yeah, my son is 2. He's supposed to throw things and knock food over and trip and fall and bonk his head and cry. He's 2. That's what they do. And my dad lectures, right? I was lecturing him at 2. I was like, well, and he would look at me and go, blah, 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 right? Like, they're 2. And so, that doesn't mean you don't parent and yada, yada. Whew. Backing up even further, you guys have attached a lot of causality to postpartum depression. It's because of the NICU. It's because of the emergency C-section. It's because of. I'm going to challenge you guys to let that causality go, because postpartum depression is a cocktail of 1,000 different things. From childhood stuff to hormones to nervous systems to sleep, some of the oxytocin stuff. Her narrative that she's not closer to the kid because of is simply not true. That's a story she's needing to tell herself because she's struggling in her new role. Okay?
Okay.
And I'd rather that energy be spent on, okay, I am going to forge a bond with this new baby. And it's going to not feel like I thought it was going to, and it's going to be more work than I was hoping it would be. Yet that's still the challenge in front of me. So let me back all the way out. Does your wife want to go back to work? What does she want to do?
She doesn't know, and I've had this conversation with her a lot, because I'm in support, essentially, of whatever
I know you are.
She wants to do.
Yeah.
It comes back to, she doesn't know really if she wants to go back to work, or at least not right now, and she feels like she's kind of lost her whole identity, and that she, we talk about her going back to work, and I ask questions because I'm a guy. So I'm like, okay, well, practically, what do you think you want to do? Do you want to go back into the career you had? Do you want to try something new? And she just, right now, the response is, I don't know. I don't even know what I like anymore.
Okay. Whenever somebody gets stuck there, man, woman, mother, father, single, no kids, whenever somebody gets stuck, we try to think our way out of this stuckness, try to think our way out of rumination, and it doesn't work. In fact, it just pours gasoline on that fire. The only path out is right through it in some form of action. And what that action can look like is, I will not look at social media, period. I will not apply for a single job, period. I will wake up every day with a mapped out plan, going for a walk, having coffee with a friend. I'm going to make a friend. I will force myself to make a friend. I will go for another walk with the baby. I will do is like a limited amount of push-ups during nap number 1. Like, I'm going to have a focused set of things I'm going to do, actions I'm going to take. And I'm going to do that for 30 days before I judge any of it. Or I am going to go get some sort of job for 60 days, for 90 days. I'm just going to try it out. Because thinking about what it's going to feel like, you don't know. And here's what's unmooring. She thought she knew what this was going to feel like, and so now her ability to trust herself is gone. And she's trying to regain trust by just sitting around thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. It's not going to work. So I think she has to take one of those two paths, or it doesn't have to be full-time work. When my wife went through this exact same thing, she got half-time work and realized, I like the idea of working. I don't like the idea of an entity owning my soul.
Mm-hmm.
And that started a 5 or 10 year journey, because she went from Dr. Delony to hey miss as a public school teacher to full-time mom to I don't know where I am in time and space anymore.
Yeah.
And Have you, I'd recommend not asking particular questions about what you want to do and instead shift the questions to things like, how can I love you? Has she said the dreaded, and by the way, very specifically, how can I love you today? How can I love you right now? And if y'all begin to, and she's going to say things like, oh, I don't know. I don't even know. And say things, and you begin to ask, how about dishes? How about bedtimes? How about fill in the blank, making the bed in the morning? What are these little bitty things? And let's begin to baby step our way towards actions, items. Has she said the dreaded, I wish I wasn't a mom?
Yeah, not in those exact words, but
and I call it the dreaded because then whenever that thought or those words pop out of a mom's mouth or pop out of her mind, then she goes on the spiral, right? I feel guilty for even saying that, which makes me feel ashamed. And then I pick up my baby and they scream, and then I really don't like being a mom, and it just starts like a down the drain spiral.
Yeah.
Man. Here's the magic move. Here's where y'all ultimately have to get to, okay? And if you just run home today and you're like, all right, I got it, and you say what I'm about to tell you, it will make things worse, okay?
Yeah.
But here is where y'all have to get to. The world y'all had is over. It no longer exists because you have a little baby. Y'all could go to the same jobs, make the same money, have the same amount of sex, and have the same dates, and your world as you knew it is over now because you've got an entire part of your brain dedicated to the provision and safety and love and care of a child, of a human.
Mm-hmm.
The sooner y'all can put a period at what was and begin deciding, practicing, tiptoeing, building what is to come. And by the way, when you're building what is to come, that gives you purpose. And just to be specific, because I say that a lot on the show and people ask, like, what do you actually mean? Let's take our calendar and just wipe it completely clean. Let's take our morning routines, yours included, and let's wipe it completely clean. Let's take our breakfast, our lunches, our dinners, our budgets, and start them over at zero. And even if you land on the same morning routine and the same budget and the same place, the act of intentionally saying, here's how we're going to spend money now, here's how we're going to both work now, here's how we're going to make love now, here's how we're going to laugh and have dates now, here's what all that's going to look like. That in and of itself is a forward-moving action. And by the way, before I let you go, this is a big one. Do y'all have any sort of, you mentioned friends and family, old friends are gone, family's not very accountable. Do y'all have any sort of couple friends? Does she have any sort of women that she can text or meet up with or get together with a couple times a week?
So she has a Bible study with women that she goes to, but not. The best way I can put the way she's explained it to me is nothing that like connects on like a deep level for like that deep soul nourishing, cup filling kind of friendship.
Okay, so how old is she?
We're 36.
Okay. For most of y'all's entire life, up until y'all graduated college and maybe even into your first job, the world stuck you in the middle of relationships.
Yes.
And now you're in your mid-30s, headed to 40. And making friends is both a nightmare because there's no roadmap for it, and B, it's as necessary as oxygen. I heard a quote recently that I just loved, and it's from another culture. But the idea was no woman should hold a crying baby alone. That is a modern invention, and it's an invention of torture.
Wow.
No woman is designed to hold a crying baby by themselves. And that means, and by the way, you've got to be at work because there has to be some money in that household, right?
Yeah. Thankfully, I get to work from home, but still I have to.
Yeah, that can make it worse, though.
Yeah.
Because you're there, but you're not there.
Yeah.
Right? And you get tugged away, and so your work slowly goes down a little bit, and your relationship's not as what it was, all that. You might even get to a place where you go somewhere to work. Maybe even in the mornings from 8 to noon, you leave the house and go somewhere and let her settle into a routine. But she has to do the hard work to make girlfriends. those deep, nourishing things are not just going to happen on their own, and she's going to suffocate without them.
Yeah.
Like if I had a prescription pad, and I would prescribe that. And here's it's as simple as looking at somebody in the Bible study and saying, "Hey, do you want to go get coffee?"
That's true. I know that she, I know she has reached out. It feels like maybe I'm not wording this correctly, so I'm just going to dive headfirst into it. But she says she's reached out to a bunch of friends and like our neighborhood group and everything multiple times. It's almost like silence comes back. Now I know that there are real world complications when it comes to some of that stuff of like, hey, well, you're coordinating how many different schedules to try and go get coffee and things like that. But it feels like sometimes that she's just kind of given up on that.
That's right.
Does any of that make sense?
100%. No, you said it perfectly, brother. A lot of times people reach out by doing this. Hey, y'all want to go get coffee? Well, then everybody thinks, I have an hour and a half on this day, but the back and forth and the reply alls and the I can'ts and do you want to, nobody responds.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't respond. And so she has to take that extra step of vulnerability and reply to two people or reach out to two people and say, I'm going to get coffee from 8 to 9:30 and I'm going to walk to the coffee shop. I need some friends. I would love it if y'all came. I'm buying. Like, be specific, go first, and be willing to risk both saying we can't make it. That has to be the path forward because it's real easy to kind of lob a balloon grenade out there. Like, hey, anybody want to go, whatever? It's just not specific enough, and nobody wants to parse through who can go and when, and all. So nobody responds. And then you are left sitting there going, well, nobody wants to hang out. That's not true. They just didn't know who was on the invite list and how and when and what's the summertime. It just gets chaotic. Hey, Susan, I'm going to get coffee today. I'm buying. It would mean the world if you came. I'm super lonely. That's how you connect and make friends in your 30s and 40s. I just bought concert tickets. There's some metal bands that are running it back in Nashville. I bought an extra ticket to every show. My wife wouldn't go to those shows with me if I paid her. And I'm going to reach out to some guys and say, hey, I got an extra ticket to this show. It's on this night at this time. We're going to eat beforehand. Are you in? And if they say no, they got a life. I'm not going to take that personally. But I'm at least giving a chance that we're going to meet up. A chance. But the meta here is this. Action. Your wife has to get to a point where the pain of just sitting at home and not liking herself and not liking purpose and starting to slowly let that cloud go over this child. I don't even like being a mom anymore. This kid is just crying and acting like a 2.5-year-old because they are 2.5. And my husband's right in that room. Just that cloud of resentment. The pain of that has to become greater than the pain of risk and change. All right, I'm just going to start calling people until I find someone to go out with me once a week. Hey, honey, I'm going to tell you what I need right in the next 30 minutes, in the next hour. And let me give you one more little piece of wisdom before I leave. When she says, I'm the worst mom, I'm terrible at this, whatever, don't say, no, you're not. Because once again, you're somebody telling her that her feelings aren't valid. The way you refute statements like that is not, nuh-uh. But you say them with I, you respond to them with I statements. Well, my experience of you is that you're amazing. Well, when I see you, I think you're beautiful. I see you as someone who I just can't wait to kiss every time I walk out of whatever the thing is. Because you can't deny her feelings, but she can't deny yours either. Hope that helps, my brother. Aaron, you're a good man and you're a good husband. If she ever wants to call into the show, I'd love to talk to her too directly. Because I know this is hard because it's kind of second and third hand. A friend of a friend. But hopefully I've given you enough that y'all can head into what comes next. I'm super optimistic for you guys, but y'all are going to have to walk your way into it, not talk and think your way into it.